Hi everybody, I've got a short video for you introducing the class. I'm going to reuse the recording I made for fall quarter. It's all still accurate, it's just the days that we're going to meet have changed. So check the online schedule to make sure you've got the right days. It's classes meeting Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday, whatever it is, just check online and you can see when we're going to be meeting on Zoom. And that's really the only change. So I'll turn it over to my former self. Hey everybody, welcome to Data Structures 1. Super excited to be teaching this class fully online again. I think you're really going to enjoy the format. What we're going to be doing here are I will pre-record some lectures which will be available to you on YouTube. And then we'll have live sessions via Zoom, which may not be the full class period. Those are intended for sort of more casual discussion. I will be going over homeworks in the Zoom sessions, but for the most part, I won't be presenting new material. So it'll be sort of for review, for doing exercises and things like that. So our first class will be on this Thursday, and you can find a link on the D2L page. I'm also preparing this video for you, and there's a link to this video right here. So you can watch this video again. You can recursively watch this video. Start watching it and then start watching it again, then start watching it again, and just never stop. There's lecture material here, and the important thing I just want to point out to you is a little bit about how the lectures are going to show up for you. So if you click here, you'll see for each week, a sort of page telling you what's happening that week. So significant for right now is that I would like you to watch a few things before our first class. So this is about an hour of video for you to go through and just pay attention to a little bit before we meet on Thursday, ideally. So the most important ones are, of course, the syllabus. And I'd like you to go ahead and install the tools that are necessary for class so that if you have questions or problems with that, we can go ahead and address them on Thursday. So please do watch these videos. When you click on one of these, what you're going to get is a page with some slides. And the slides are by default going to be all the slides on a single page here, so you could actually print it if you want. If you want to see a one slide per page view, which is what I do in lecture, you can click here or click on any of these slides, the number by the slide, and it will take you to that view. So you can see this view of the slides. And when you're in this view, you've got one slide at a time, and you can sort of click through them using these. Or you can use the arrow keys going forwards or backwards. So what does a video look like? It's going to be on YouTube, and I've got a built-in player here where you can sort of, let's just watch a sec of me last spring.
Welcome to Computer Science 300, Data Structures 1. What you see before you is the course description.
So that's what that looks like. And you can click through that. You can actually read the transcript here if you want. You can click forward to a part that you want to see. You can also watch this directly on YouTube. Now, if you click this link, it's going to start you over on YouTube at the place you were currently at, which is great. YouTube will actually keep track of where you are if you're logged into YouTube. And this can be really handy for keeping track of where you are in the class. What I recommend is that you use a playlist for the class. So with each video, I have a playlist, and that will take you to just all of the videos for the class. And you can see a nice thing about YouTube, you do need to be logged in for this to work, but as long as you're logged in, it will keep track of your progress through each video, and that way you can keep track of where you are. Of course, YouTube is actually giving you where you were the last time you watched it. So if you watched an entire video, then you go back, it'll show you that you've gone back, which is why you can see that I have these various progress meters throughout my videos. But this can be a nice way to keep track of where you are in the lectures so that you don't have to guess. Okay? So that's YouTube. You can watch the things there. I think you guys probably know YouTube has these closed captions in that I'm showing the captions here. They can be distracting, so I don't recommend necessarily that you use captions unless you like them. On this page, they'll always show up, but anytime you go to YouTube, The captions here are optional. So you can see here there's the closed captioning button. YouTube also has options to change the playback speed if you are somebody that's either on a lot of caffeine or on some just kind of drunk. Maybe you need to slow it down. Well, it's like I'm a little drunk right now, so I'm going to slow it down and watch this at half speed. So whatever it is for you, you sort it out, and you can change the speed here. And subtitles go on and off here. And the quality should be at 1080. You should be able to get 1080 video here throughout all of these videos. Okay, so you want to watch the videos for this week, and you also want to, let me go back to the slides. Right. You also want to get the, all right, I'm going to edit this part out. So this is the lovely part of lectures. I can edit this out. Okay, I'm not going to edit this out because you can see the horrible crap that happens when I just speak live. But in any case, when I normally record these things, I will edit out this kind of nonsense so it doesn't waste your time. Isn't that lovely? That's a great thing about being online. You don't have to watch the professor fumbling around. You can see that a little on Zoom. But for the most part, I won't do this on YouTube. In any case, for this week, make sure you watch the syllabus. And then the tool lecture is, another great thing about watching YouTube videos is you can pause them. So, the videos may be a little dense. So what I recommend is that if you are in a part where you're maybe struggling a little bit or trying to understand things, that you just pause. And for example, in this video, I'm going to walk you through how to install the tools both for Mac OS and Windows. And I suggest that you don't do this passively. While you're watching the video, do the install. So that way you'll know you get it right. So just follow my steps. And if you have any problems, bring them to class on Thursday. Okay? And I'd say this is true for all of the lectures. So there's a lecture here on understanding a little bit about Java and how it relates to Python. So when you're watching this, actually pause every so often and take a minute to think about what's going on. Watching videos online, I think everybody knows it can be stultifyingly dull, but that's not unique to videos online. It's also true for in-class lectures. I mean, people often are just so checked out because they're like, I'm bored, I'm understimulated, this class is so dull. Anyway, if that's happening to you, just stop for the moment, right? Don't just like plow through a video mindlessly. It makes no sense. It's a waste of your time. So you're better off just not watching it. So what you want to do is watch when you can be engaged, and make sure you engage the material, interactively. Try doing things while you're watching. Pause, stop. Don't feel like you need to just barrel through 20 minutes of video without pausing. You won't get much out of it that way. All right. So just like in class, when we're doing this stuff on videos, it's sort of up to you to drive your own process, to make sure that you understand what you're doing. And make sure that you get the most out of this class because, it's your education. So you need to make sure you're going for it. Okay. All that being said, I will now hand it over to my former self. I'll see you at some point in this video where I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the chat group and the grading scheme. But otherwise, I'll hand it over to former me. Welcome to Computer Science 300, Data Structures 1. What you see before you is the course description as it appears in DePaul's course catalog. And this kind of description is often more useful after you've finished a course than before it begins. So it may be more important for us now, while we're starting the class, to get a sense of where this class fits into your overall education. This is the prerequisite sequence for computer science classes. And you can see patterns in this prerequisite sequence, and I'd just like to walk through some of them. Note that over here we have the discrete math sequence. Up here we have your intro to programming class sequence. Here we have the data structure sequence, and this is the first class of that. And finally over here you can see the systems sequence. So these are all 2 course sequences, and they sort of form the foundation of computer science. And you can see this because each of these courses has a fair amount of fan out in terms of courses that depend on them. So what are these areas? Well, when you look at discrete math, this is teaching you the mathematics of computing, which is different from the mathematics of physics. In physics, we're interested in the continuum, but here in computer science, we're more interested in discrete phenomenon, such as logic and probability. In your intro class, you would have learned how to program. And of course, when people say, you know, I'm taking a programming class, and then they ask you, and a year later, what are you taking? And you're saying, well, I'm taking this programming class. And it's like, didn't you already take the programming class? It's a bit like learning a language, a spoken language or a written language, you know, learning to program. It's not quite so simple as you just take one class and you're done. So when you took your first intro class, what you really learned was how to write to get a program done. You were writing for the machine. In this class, instead, we're really starting to think about computer programs as artifacts of worth in their own right. So we're thinking of programs as ways to communicate between humans. So what you can do is use a program to communicate an idea. You can also analyze programs for more than just what they do on the machine. You can actually look to see, well, are they actually doing what I intended? Are they correct in some sense? Are the programs I'm writing performant? Do they behave in a way that is sufficient for the resources that I have available? So that's sort of the idea of this class. When you finish this class, you'll be able to enroll in the first systems class, that's 373. And this class is also very important, but it's looking more at the mechanics of how execution happens. So here we're thinking about programs as abstract objects. In the system sequence, you'll think of them really in terms of their concrete implementation. All right, so what I'm trying to tell you is this objective here is really to get you thinking about programming in a different way. So programs aren't just for computers. We can use programs to communicate with other people. So what you're going to get out of this course, I hope, is an ability to code without typing. So to think about programming in a different way. Often when we work with others, we need to write our ideas down in a draft form, and typing them in can be too heavy. So during meetings and informal communication, we might just communicate on paper or on a whiteboard with a fellow programmer. It's really important to understand the concept of correctness as well, and the concepts of performance. So these are things we'll start to think about when we're writing programs, not just what they do, but do they fully express what I intended? We're going to be looking at different ways of expressing these programs. We look at iteration, which should be familiar to you, and recursion, which should also be familiar to you, although usually for most students it's a little bit more difficult. And we'll talk about the relationship between these two kinds of programming. We'll look at basic object-oriented programming as well. So this again is something you should have seen a little bit of in your prior class, but may not master. We'll look at debuggers and testing. And we're going to do this in the context of what are called data structures. So data structures are representations in memory of abstract ideas. So if you have an abstract idea like a list, how are you going to represent that in the computer? You need some structure in memory to represent that abstract idea. So these are data structures. We'll look at several of them. We'll look at lists. We'll look at stacks, queues, and doubly ended queues. We'll look at something called heaps, which is probably not familiar to you. and a union find structure. Again, probably not familiar. So these are different structures that we'll look at in order to understand how to program. The data structures are all important, but in some ways the data structures themselves are less important than the maturity of programming that comes with them. You can think of these as very well understood ideas, fundamental ideas of programming, that by understanding these fundamental basic ideas, you can mature in your own understanding of what it means to be a programmer. The prerequisite for this class is very simple. You just need to have had some prior programming class. If you are not sure if you're able to program sufficiently for this course, you get in touch with me. I will be able to help you. You'll get a sense of it simply by looking at the first homework assignment. So the first homework assignment is not intended to be difficult. So if it is, then maybe you're not at the level you should be for this course. Wow, isn't former me awesome? Let's have a round of applause for former me. Anyway, back to current me for now. Assessment in this course is going to be as listed here. Okay, so 20% online quizzes, 25% programming assignments, and 55% exams. The online quizzes will be timed. They'll be on D2L. You'll have one a week roughly. The programming assignments, also you'll pick them up on D2L. You'll complete them on your computer and then upload the solutions to D2L. And those will be also approximately one per week. They'll be due immediately before class, either on Tuesday or Thursday, always. Okay, so that's the assessment. We're also going to have, in addition to our Zoom classes, which we will have for live discussion, we're going to have a asynchronous discussion forum. And in spring I used Discord. It worked very well, and I plan to use it again. Discord comes out of the gaming community, but it's a really good platform for interaction. And so what you want to do is just download the native Discord app, and you can fire it up. And once you have Discord here, you can go accept the invitation here. So if you click on this, it will simply add this class to your Discord. And so it'll look like this one. There it is. Not a lot here right now, but you can use this as sort of a chat. Importantly here, I want you to make sure that you have your real name. And to do that, you're going to click on the down arrow here for this particular server, and you can change your nickname, and you can just change it to whatever you want. So I have mine as James Riley, which is my name. You can use whatever first name you like, but please use your last name as it is in Campus Connect so that I know who you are. And that's Discord. It's a chat forum. Please be polite. Please use appropriate language, and not too casual. It's okay. We're gonna chat, but I don't you know what I'm saying. Okay, so that's the discussion, and I will be presenting things there. I will be announcing things there. So it is an expectation. You need to sign up for this. In fact, I'll have some small graded item to make sure that everyone is signed up for Discord. So now back to former me. So let me just show you what the course homepage looks like. So I've got the lecture materials sort of spread out week by week here, as well as a bunch of links over on the left. So we'll see what some of these links are later. But for now, the syllabus, which I'm walking through now, this is a link to some code examples I'll talk about later in a different video. Links for student services if you have questions about those. Links for the textbooks we're going to be using, the language we're going to be using, and the programming tool we're going to be using. So if you click on a week, you should get a slide like this, which will tell you more or less what we're doing this week. What I'm doing right now is walking through this lecture. So if you want to find the video for this lecture, you click here, and it will be there soon. So that's where it's going to go. And you can go on after you finish this lecture to the next section, which is to look at the tools that we're going to be using. And so I put a lecture here, and here the video, I've already done them, so you can sort of see videos here. I guess this would be a video in a video. We're going to explode the world if I click on this, so I won't do it. And in any case, each topic then has a video and the slides associated with it. So that's how you should, find the lectures. The contact information for me is as follows. We're going to be doing quite a lot online this quarter, so please check to make sure that your email address on Campus Connect is correct. There's 2 required texts. The first is Core Java for the Impatient. This is in its 2nd edition. The older edition is also fine. It doesn't matter. If there's a newer edition, get it. This is simply a book about Java. It's intended for programmers, so it works at a pretty quick pace, but it's, I think, an excellent reference text on the Java language, and it's a good way to ramp up relatively quickly. The other text is called Algorithms for E. This is the 4th edition of the book by Robert Sedgwick at Princeton, who's one of the grand masters of data structures. He's written several editions of this book, and they're all completely different. They're in different languages, in C and Pascal. They have nothing to do with each other. So please make sure you get Algorithms 4th edition by Sedgwick and his co-author Kevin Wayne, who's helped him quite a lot with the coding and cleaning up the presentation. This is available as an ebook. Actually, both of these are. If you plan on getting anything like a Kindle or whatever, don't buy on Amazon. Buy it here because you'll get the Kindle and the EPUB and a PDF. These books are also available on Safari. So if you are a DePaul student, which you all are, you can log in here and find the text. There's a limit on how many students can have the same book open at the same time, but hopefully it won't be a problem for those of you who need to just get up to date relatively quickly. You'll want to find the books. I also listed some recommendations for other books for those of you that are interested in these things. So there's several books listed here, and I'm happy to answer questions that you might have about these. Some people like more books than others, but the 2 that I've suggested are sufficient. You shouldn't need anything else, but if you're a person that likes lots of things to read, there's some other suggestions. In terms of expectations, we're obviously going to be having presentations. I'm going to give you material to watch and to read, but the core of this course is the programming assignments. It's very, very important to do those, and I can't emphasize it enough. So the programming assignments, it's actually not sufficient to get them done or to get them right. You need to really understand them. So I'll talk more about this later. Finally, there's some policies that DePaul has generally, attendance of class and things like this that you can see listed here. Again, I want to welcome you to the class and to say I hope we have a great quarter. I'm hoping that the use of online will work for everyone, and I encourage you to give me feedback if you think of anything that I might be able to improve during the quarter.